Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. So today I just thought I'd bring you yet again another quick little recipe video. Once again, I'm just kind of doing some dinner prep right now, and I'm going to be doing kind of a whole roasted chicken, but a little differently because I'm going to be taking the back out of it so it kind of cooks flat and a little bit more even. So in just a moment here, I'll put the camera down, I'll show you guys how to actually take the back out of a chicken. I know I previously showed you how to fully debone a chicken, but this is just a little bit simpler method. And so yeah, I'll show you that in a second. And again, I'm just going to make this kind of a super quick video. Just want to get this out there. I thought I'm making dinner, I might as well show you guys how to do this as well. So without further ado, here we go. So the process of getting the back out of your chicken is actually really simple. It's a lot less complicated than trying to debone the whole chicken. So you can see here I have my whole chicken on the cutting board. And the easiest way to show you guys to take the back out is kind of stand the chicken on its head like this. And you're going to see the kind of little spot where the tail feathers used to be. You just honestly, you can feel the spine right in the middle there with your fingers right there. So all you really have to do is take your knife on one or either side of it and just cut pretty much straight down. You might feel a little bit of resistance, but just cut straight down on either side, and the back should come right out. If you find it easier, you can always flip the chicken kind of onto its back flat. Put your knife kind of up in the cavity where you can clearly see, and again, just get in there on either side of the spine. You're gonna hear the ribs kind of cracking, which is okay. It's actually kind of what you want. And then you can see you can kind of flip it over, and you can just essentially pull the spine out, and there you go, guys. It's just that easy. Now, if you want, you can either keep this, throw it in a pot to make chicken stock, or if you don't have any use for it, you can throw it out. But I like to not waste anything, so I have a pot on the stove with some other stock. I'm going to throw this in just to help increase the flavor a little bit. Once you have the back out, guys, all you really want to do is right in the center here, kind of between the two breasts, you just want to make a little kind of indent with your knife. Get right in the middle, just kind of snap it in half, and then on your board, turn it over, just kind of press it down so that your entire chicken kind of goes flat. You can see like this, the whole thing is flattened out. That way when you go to cook it, it's completely flat and it cooks evenly. And just one thing to note, I'm actually cooking it on this pan with a little bit of a rack. So the reason you want to have a rack is so that you can have even cooking. The air can go on top and underneath, cook the top and the bottom of the chicken. And also too, it actually gives you a little bit of a better roast, a little bit of a crispier skin when the chicken is not sitting directly in the liquid. The rack just gives it a bit of a height so that all the liquid will drip off. You can still use it on your chicken or in your sauce afterwards, but your skin's gonna be a lot crispier when it's not sitting right in the liquid. So once you have your chicken back out all flat and sitting on your tray, it's time to go ahead and give it some kind of a marinade. Now I'm choosing to use a dry rub on here for one reason. The dry rub, you rub it all over the meat. I find the dry rub tends to soak in a little bit more if you let it sit. Then if you did kind of a wet rub, that's just my opinion. I prefer the dry rub as it kind of embeds itself into the meat a little more. But one thing to note, I might put some olive oil on it before it goes in the oven, just so it doesn't dry out fully, and that's just so there's some moisture. But anyways, I am using a dry rub mix. Now I did not make this myself for the most part. The red powder that you can see is just a bottle of mix that I had laying around. But it's a pretty simple mix. It's just smoked paprika, some garlic powder, salt, pepper, and then I've added in on my own. I have my own custom herb mix, which has some ground up dry basil, parsley, oregano, all sorts of things. I don't actually remember everything in there, but if you guys have any kind of dry rub mix that you prefer, go ahead and use that on there. Or if you want to make it yourself, maybe in the description below, actually, I'll put in exactly what is all in here so you guys can make it yourself if you don't want to go out to the store and buy it. Now that we have our dry rub mix and our chicken, and one other thing, you may be noting, as I've said in past videos, I always like to season kind of where I'm going to be cooking as if I can. So in this case, I have my chicken already set out on the tray, so I'm going to dry rub it right on here. And you might think, am I going to lose some of the powder down below? Initially, yes, but of course, once it cooks and kind of all the juices drain out, everything is going to pool on the tray down below. And then later on, before I actually, serve and eat the chicken, I'm gonna take all that liquid, pour it into my chicken stock that I have on the stove, make a little sauce out of it. So you might lose a little bit in the marinade process, but then when you make the sauce later, it's all gonna go back. So with that said, to do the dry rub, it's honestly pretty easy. I'm just gonna take some of my dry rub mix here, kind of sprinkle it all over the chicken on the front, get it nice and coated, and then honestly, just go ahead and rub it into the skin. Don't be shy. Of course, you want to make sure you hit every part of the chicken, and you know, the more you rub it in, the better it's going to soak in. Now, I've left the skin on, so one trick that you can do to combat that is if you kind of go from the top of the breast or even the bottom, you'll notice that the skin lifts up a little bit. So just try to get, you know, your hand in there, maybe get some of the mix up under the skin, just so that you know the marinade is actually going to hit into the meat. But again, yeah, make sure you don't miss any crevices, get all up in the legs. Again, try to get some up underneath the skin of the chicken so everything's fully marinated. And then go ahead, once the front's completely covered, you know, go ahead, flip it over. Do the same thing on the back side, because, you know, on the back side, the meat is more exposed. So this as well is going to help everything kind of soak into the leg meat, the breast meat, and you're going to get the best flavor out of your chicken. And one other thing to note, guys, you know, if you do seem like you have missed a lot of product falling through the grates, just go ahead gently, you know, lift up the grate, dump all the dry stuff off, and put it back onto your chicken. Again, it's all going to go back in later when you put in the sauce, but if you want to get the best coverage, you know, you can always go back and rub in whatever seasoning kind of fell off. All right, everyone, so here's kind of our finished seasoned chicken. This is what it looks like. You can see it has a nice kind of red tint to it from the seasoning that I just used. Now, at this stage, if you were kind of pressed for time, or, you know, you want to eat quickly, you can just go ahead and put your chicken in the oven. But as I have mentioned before, you know, the longer you let something sit and marinate, the better it's going to taste in the end. So in my case, I'm not eating for a little while, so I'm going to let this sit for probably about an hour or so before I put it into the oven. But yeah, again, if you're kind of, you know, pressed for time, you can throw it in the oven right away. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys with all the oven settings and showing you all that, but let me just quickly say, for your oven settings, for my oven, I'm going to be putting it on to convection at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I'm sure some of you at home might not have convection setting in your oven. You might have a regular oven. So to keep it a little bit simpler, if you set your oven to 375 degrees, especially if you're using the on the rack method like I have here, you're kind of going to get a little bit of convection cooking, if you will, as though the heat's going to be evenly distributed around the chicken. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to be putting mine on convect at 350, but for everyone else, if you have convection, that's what you do. If you have a regular oven, set it to 375 degrees. You know, it's probably going to take about an hour to cook. Total, of course, check on it, make sure it's not burning. Of course, the finished cooking temperature for chicken is 160 degrees Fahrenheit in the inside. So if you have a thermometer, of course, check it that way. But yeah, once I cook the chicken, guys, I'll pull it out so you see what it looks like when it's done. But I'm not going to bore you with the whole process of cooking it because there's really not much to show. All right, guys, so you can see after an hour of cooking, this is what it looks like, nice and golden crispy on the outside, but the inside is still nice and moist. Perfectly cooked temperature, 160 degrees. So the only thing left now to do is eat it and enjoy it. So there we go, guys. That's kind of my quick recipe for making delicious roasted chicken. And again, you know, I showed you guys how to take the back out of a chicken. As you saw, it's really super simple. You know, it's a lot less complicated than trying to debone a whole chicken. And honestly, I think it's the best way to go if you're going to do a whole roasted chicken. But there you go, guys. You can see how delicious everything looks. I wish I could, you know, feed all you guys through the camera and you guys can smell it, but unfortunately you can't. But trust me, it smells awesome. I've tried a little bit. It tastes awesome. So there we go, guys. That's my quick kind of roasted chicken recipe. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.